Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me on this live episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is none other than the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Hey, what's poppin'?
Behave yourself, LeRon. There are people watching.
I know, man. This is uncharted territory.
No, it's not. It's
we
just
haven't
been a while.
we haven't done a live in like at least 100 episodes.
It's been a while, yeah. I can tell you the last time we were live because it's saved on YouTube. Let's see. Maybe if it lets me. Besides the Power Block episode we did the other night, the last time the Boss Rush podcast was live was episode 142.
That's a long time ago. That's over 100 episodes ago.
Yeah, it was 125 episodes ago.
Yeah, it's 125 episodes. Yeah.
So that was the last time we were live. Anyways, also here, speaking of live, PK Power Pat Klein, also here.
I am here.
Hello, Pat.
Hello. How are you all doing tonight?
All
So
right.
far, so good. I'm alive.
All right. Guys,
All right. So good.
as you can see on my name tag, I actually finished a video game.
Oh, are you saving that for what we've been playing?
Yeah, but I'm excited.
Is this
I
the
don't know,
first one this year?
I don't know. You don't sound that excited.
Nope, it's my third one this year, actually.
Oh,
Ooh,
The other
you're
two-
tied with LeRon.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know if the other two really count, though. I mean, I guess they do because I beat them. But we'll talk about that later.
Mhm.
I guess technically I beat 2 games this week. Man, I'm on a roll.
So start calling you Butter because you're on a roll.
Yeah. And then you can say what my math teacher used to say when he would continue that joke. He'd say, "Call me cream cheese because I'm on a bagel."
oh God.
I don't
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah,
His dog was named Bagel.
maybe. Oh, Matt.
Wow.
Matt was not my math
He's
teacher.
on. He was on a bagel, huh? His dog was named Bagel. I get the joke.
Ah, man.
I don't know if it's hopefully we have the adult settings set up here.
There are no adults here. 0 adults.
Mhm.
Somebody hit the live button, and now we are
Now we're alive.
now we're trapped.
Hmm.
So, anyways,
Now we're alive with 13 viewers on Twitter.
yeah.
Nobody's on YouTube though.
I know. It's probably because our algorithms are all messed up because we usually just post long episodes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We got to figure out this algorithm thing for the YouTube channels, especially with like Switch 2 coming up, and I mean that's kind of for those of you unaware, we switched recording platforms from Zencaster, which is hot garbage, to
Good riddance.
StreamYard, which is nice. So that's why we're live, because you can do live and record all in the same go, and it looks nice. It sounds way better. It looks better. Maybe I won't have to request cloud versions for the 12th week in a row because Zencaster doesn't like LeRon's camera sometimes or Stephanie's camera sometimes. I don't know.
So now,
and then
now
you know what the final straw was actually? Zencaster, and I have the email. I can send it to you. They said that I should go get a Windows computer and try it out.
the dumbest shit ever.
And I said, why would that matter? It's a browser-based program, correct? And yeah, thanks Keith from Zencaster for not being helpful.
So dumb.
He just wanted to get a Windows sale, okay?
For what? He works for Zencaster. He Oh man. Good times, huh? Zencaster can just they stress me out, man. There was enough there.
You know what would not stress you out? Power Wash Simulator.
I don't know. It might stress me out.
And know that they just announced a sequel to it.
I know they did. I know you're really excited.
And it's going to be
Pat.
I am super excited. And not only that, it's going to have online multiplayer.
What?
That's right. 2 people, at least 2 people, maybe 4, can play at the same time and clean up the same projects.
Power Wash Simulator is the game you play after Splatoon happens. Man. LeRon, how's Monster Hunter treating you?
Treating me just fine. I'm definitely playing a lot slower than the people I know are playing.
Yeah, are you hitting that point where people are complaining that there's nothing to do after like 300 hours of playtime?
No.
Oh.
No, like I'll just play Monster Hunter and play. I'll just play and play and play until until I'm ready to play something else.
I mean, yeah, you should. You should. Definitely should. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it, LeRon, a lot actually. Mostly because I really love their character creator. It's like the best.
Oh.
Shout out to Capcom for having the best character creator on the planet. That's all I have to say. Their character creator is the best.
So. It's been actually the character creator has been like pretty awesome since World.
I know that's where I first experienced it was World. It was awesome. It's the best. I think it is. So you know what else is the best? The Boss Rush Podcast, where each and every week you can hear us on podcast services and on YouTube, and now you can watch us live about a week early. Also, you can support us over on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. For only $1 a month, you get access to the pre-show. You get access to Expansion Pass 2 weeks early. You get access to Book Club 1 month early. If you subscribe at the $5 tier, you become a Patreon producer. You get to hear your name in the credits and special shout outs. All those things. Very excited. Very exciting indeed. But if you can't support us financially, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can watch us live or watch our video podcasts, our content over there. You can also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcast apps. Leave us a rating and a nice review. It really helps, and we would appreciate those reviews, especially as the Switch 2 comes up and all these new games are coming out. You know, people are going to be looking for fun, and we want to be their fun, right, LeRon?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
We sure do.
Yeah. You can see all of our content over on bossrush.net, including our reviews, listicles, Boss Rush banters, features, and more. Let's do this first topic, LeRon. I'm kicking it to you. I'm passing you the ball, bending it like Beckham over to you.
Real quick. Is there any
upcoming content?
Yeah.
Damn it! I always forget that. We always just kind of skip over it on Power Block too. Whoops.
We or just you?
Ed does the housekeeping on Power Block. Thank you very much. He's the host there.
Okay.
I'm too busy writing the docs and doing the show notes over there, which is why LeRon does it here now.
It's okay. I do my show notes and mine.
By the way, LeRon, I really appreciate you doing the show notes for the show.
Well, it looked like at a certain point like I was just going to take over the show. So I just kind of got in the mode.
To be honest, I did think about it for a little bit. Because I don't want to be here. It's because work got extra busy, and it just, we got other stuff going on, which I can tell you about later. But like, man, there's just a lot. But then I was like, I can't do that. I can't force things onto you. I can't force things onto you.
Why? Why? Like you act like I didn't run a whole other podcast channel for like a hot minute. I know. And that will probably start back up real soon here.
I know.
Who knows? Maybe LeRon would actually like something forced on him.
Yeah, I know. He would accept it. He would take it like a champ.
Forced? Come on now.
Oh man. Insert.
Fine. Ask for consent first.
It's like no, stop, please no.
Jeez.
I don't want it.
Dang.
He has a headache.
Speaking of forcing it on you, LeRon, do you have any upcoming content that you would like to share with our viewers?
No, nothing new.
Okay, fine.
Y'all know on the boring one here on the show. Y'all know that.
We know. I have a Fire Emblem review that I've been writing. I don't know when it's coming out, but it is coming, so you can look forward to that soon. And I have been emailing some companies for spotlights, so maybe something to announce next week. Pat?
What? I am recording a book club this week with Jenny Kimchika from Wholesome Games, who is also the communications director over at Ivy Road, who just released their first game this week of recording. Well, technically it was a couple days before, so last week. But they just recently released their debut title, Wanderstop. So
Wanderstop?
Wanderstop.
Like wandering around and then stopping?
Like wandering around and stopping so that you can get some tea.
I was making sure I was making sure you didn't say wonder stop.
It is wander stop.
That's fair. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Nice. Man, talk about someone who just keeps, promoting games. She's pro. She's a pro. Shout out to Kimchika. Shout out. Anything else, Pat? Oh, jeez.
That's why I did this. I didn't extend it further.
I don't know. Someone will try to make it,
And also notice that the fist is closed.
Yeah.
I got you, brother.
Yeah. All right, LeRon. Now I'm kicking it to you. Now I'm alleviating my mistake and tossing it to you.
It's me now.
Yeah,
it's me now. Okay, yeah. I guess we can get this thing rolling. All right, so gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. What? I don't know why I just did that. I don't know why.
Just starting? Was it okay? What's happening?
Okay, so tonight we're diving into a topic that's got the gaming community buzzing, or perhaps not buzzing, depending on how you feel about it. As recently as March 14th this week, last week, Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest entry in Ubisoft's iconic franchise, was barely cracking the top 50 of the most wishlist games on Steam. Just a week ahead of its release, it's sitting at 48, at the 48th spot according to Steam DB. What's even more surprising is it's trailing behind games that aren't even set to launch until either later in the spring or at the end of summer. And with just shy of 30,000 followers on Steam, this is starting to raise some eyebrows. Is this a sign of the franchise fatigue, a crowded release schedule, or something else entirely? All right, so yeah, grab your controllers, boys and girls, settle in, and let's get into it. Why isn't Assassin's Creed Shadows generating the hype that was expected?
I think I would say it's because of the griefers out there, to be perfectly honest. Because as
The
soon as
who?
someone starts the griefers, the gooners, the groom squad, I think because the second someone starts to actually mention excitement for this game, they're immediately like downtrodden by a whole army of people who, scream that basically they get harassed due to the fact
Mm,
that they like a game that DEI, apparently has its hand in.
mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
Or that they're angry that there's a blue roof, or there's Black Samurai, or
Mm.
like they're not historically accurate, or the little squiggles on something are not as squiggly as they should be,
You
and
know what?
therefore it is a disservice to the Japanese community
You know
that
what?
they worship.
Let's unpack that for a second since you brought that up. The controversial
Hmm.
protagonist choices, right? Um, it's basically the elephant in the room. As right now the game is actually in like early release. So if you
Hmm.
did your thing and you spent that extra money and stuff right now, you could be playing in early access. But the elephant in the room is that Ubisoft chose Yasuke, who is an historical African samurai, and Noe, a female shinobi, as the main characters. Some people love this representation, while others argue that it's not historically accurate. So, we got a whole bunch of doofuses that don't know history and are saying it's not history or are saying it's not true and stuff like that. And then we got people who are like, yes, it's true. And why do you think that just because it was in I'm exaggerating when I say prehistoric times, but prehistoric times that black men and Asian women couldn't be in some form of some position of power.
Let me
Hmm.
let me ask you this, LeRon.
Mhm.
And I'm saying this purely from this has no ill intent behind it. This is just a question.
Lay it on me.
Do you think it's weird or strange or different that people have been clamoring for a game set in feudal Japan for years from Assassin's Creed, and that the first story they decide to tell in this setting is about a black male protagonist?
Okay,
'Cause I've
okay.
heard that floating around quite a bit, and not just from white people, everybody.
Mhm.
I've just heard it floating around because they say they are just trying to tell good stories, and part of me believes that, but also part of me is just I mean, we all know what the game industry is these days, right? Just come out and
Yeah.
kind of own it. Just own what you're doing. I don't care if it's one way or another, just own it.
Guys,
You know,
how
I'm
come there wasn't this much of an argument when Afro Samurai came out? People loved Afro Samurai.
Yeah, I know. People
People
were
love the Afro
obsessed.
Samurai because, you know what? Actually, I've been studying this phenomenon that happens with just like the world history and stuff like that. Like how things are. Um, basically, it all has to do with with the yin and the yang, right? We I can't remember what era it was, but we were coming out of a refractionary period, right? Where it wasn't cool to be sexually liberated. It wasn't cool to be all about diversity and all this stuff, all those things, right? And the pendulum swung so hard that it's all this provocative stuff going on, it's we're not as chaste as we are and stuff like that. And now, if we look at it now, in 2025, it's starting to swing back the other way, but it's swinging back very violent, because now we got stuff going on where basically it's at any moment we could be living in the Handmaid's Tale, or at any point we could be living in the actual Civil War movie. And I'm not talking about the Marvel Civil War movie. I'm talking about the Civil War movie that just came out last year.
Oh.
you know, um,
Yep.
yeah, but to answer your question, Corey, I didn't really think about it until I saw the discourse, about it. And I was like, you know what? It is kind of weird. It is kind of weird. But I'm a gamer, and I like as long as it's got value in the story and there's entertainment in the actual gameplay and stuff like that, I don't care what you do. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those people who get all butthurt that like Nick Fury is a black man in the MCU movies and all that stuff, or that Iris West in the Flash TV series was a black woman when she's historically been a white redhead, in the comics.
Very attractive woman.
Oh yeah, man, I love Candace Patton. Oh my god, I love her. But yeah, and also like I've never really cared when they flip like the whole racial tropes and all that stuff, because number one, it's meant to make you think, and it's meant to open your mind to some other stuff and things like that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I actually on that note, like I don't have any problems with like the racial swapping or whatever, right? Of like a couple years ago, people were talking about Idris Elba being the next James Bond. I was like, yes, please, that'd be awesome. I think the thing is like when they were talking about what if we cast a female as James Bond, and it's like, yeah, James Bond is like the character is iconic because he's a male womanizer, like make a cool new character, cool new female character. That's where like, I like make a cool new character. Like it doesn't have to be an existing character.
Come on,
if you do an existing character, maybe make a story about Moneypenny.
Yeah, but now she's a black woman. Yeah, which I love. I can't remember. I cannot remember the actress's name, but oh my god! And I was like, "That's Moneypenny."
It's the actress that played. She was also in Pirates of the Caribbean. I forget what her name is though.
Okay, yeah, but I was like, "That's Moneypenny," because Moneypenny was always my favorite character. Because supporting character in the James Bond series. But I was like, "Yo, like I like this Moneypenny."
Naomi Harris is Moneypenny.
Yeah, Naomi Harris. Yeah, but keeping it back to Assassin's Creed real quickly, right? I don't know. I feel like people like miss the plot somewhere, because all the Assassin's Creed games have always been steeped in history, like historic world events and stuff like that, or historic eras and times and stuff like that. So what the hell's the difference,
Yeah. So our friend Nelly has entered the chat, and she said, like they did for Perfect Dark, she was a female James Bond.
What up, Nelly?
Nelly, I like this point a lot, and to an extent, yes, she was a female James Bond, but she wasn't James Bond, right? She's Joanna Dark, which I think is the best.
That is cool. That is cool.
That
is cool.
So yeah, I mean that's the point I'm making, Nelly. Thank you for thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So
man, where was the outrage when they made a male Tomb Raider?
You mean Nathan Drake?
Yep.
There wasn't there a little bit like they were like, isn't this totally ripping off Tomb Raider and Indiana Jones? Like that was,
I think people were more distraught of the whole Indiana Jones ripping off than they were about the Tomb Raider ripoff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't recall people actually complaining about Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. Like, I mean, granted, she was the the thing of attractiveness with her triangular
with her triangle tatas.
Yeah, but it's still like, I don't recall any conversation of this is a man's job. That shouldn't be a British woman who's like going around and stealing artifacts.
I think that was also back in the time though, when men were more willy-nilly about playing as female characters. There was a time when like you could walk into a room full of dudes and be like, "Hey, who all plays as a female character in the game?" and 3/4 of the room would raise their hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think the era of social media has made it so much worse, right? I mean, not that it wasn't bad then, it's just it wasn't as widespread and we didn't know better, I guess. to an extent, or like obviously we were younger, and maybe LeRon, you being in the military, probably saw it more than maybe we did at the time, right? Like I don't know, but it just feels like I don't remember any of this stuff growing up. It was like, oh, Perfect Dark was awesome, Joanna Dark was awesome, Mass Effect was awesome, and I played FemShep and thought nothing of it. I thought it was awesome. Tomb Raider, like the Tomb Raider reboots are some of my favorite games of all time. I never thought anything of it, right? Like, I just never think anything of it. South of Midnight looks super cool, and like, I don't know, man. I'm
so excited for that game.
Yeah. I was an early teenager when Metroid came out, and yeah, like a lot of young boys' minds got blown when when you beat the game and you find out you've been playing the entire time as a female character. But I think that also helps shape like a lot of people's like views about like female protagonists in games and stuff like that, and even female antagonists, because eventually we got female supervillains showing up in games and stuff like that. Like it was one of the coolest things to like witness and stuff like that. It was a cool thing to experience.
But it wasn't it wasn't at an antagonistic level as it is today. Like I don't recall people standing outside Nintendo, shouting death threats at Miyamoto because they had Samantha Rain actually as a woman.
Well, that's because like identity politics came into play. For some strange reason, somebody somewhere told them that like the women are coming to steal their masculinity. The black people are coming to to take what they got. Like the Asian people are taking the Asian people, and like the Jews and the Hebrews and stuff are taking all their money and all that stuff. Like Hispanics are coming and taking all the property and all that stuff. Somebody somewhere got brainwashed into thinking that they're so privileged that they just can't lose this stuff, just being themselves, because that's literally what it is. Like, people have gotten to a point where privilege is there, so they lash out when like storytelling, because these stories have been around. Like this is like it's as old as history. Like like women have fought in wars like long before we ever had the United States military. Black people weren't always slaves. Hispanic and Native American people were kings. Were kings and ruled their own cultures and stuff like that. But for some strange reason, and I'm not saying it's one specific skin color either. So please, you know what? Let me do my disclaimer. If you feel some type of way about what I'm saying, my socials are X's803. Come find me. We'll have a conversation.
I feel violated.
Now, getting back to what I'm saying. It's not specifically any one particular like skin color or any one particular gender talking about this stuff, because we also got to look at it too. Like with gender fluidity now, like there's a whole bunch of people who are threatened by this stuff, and it's like, man, like people just trying to exist. Leave it alone.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you're gonna see. I don't want this, but our friends over at Midwest Games are making a game about a character that is, they're gender fluid, right? I mean, they go by the pronouns they, them. Like not that I mean it like this, but you can't really tell one way or another what they are. Like it's just kind of like, Legend of Babu is coming, and like the game looks awesome. And my thing is, it's like as long as the game is fun and the story's good enough, like sure, count me in. I don't care.
I think the game will do fine, though. It's got a nice big white dog in it.
Yeah, big fluffy dog.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So
everyone loves a game with a puppy.
Yeah.
All right. So I like this comment from Wesley Media Group right here. Cultural power shift. A lot of people are not happy with that, and that's true. But and like I said earlier, the pendulum is always swinging. Like there's always going to be times when like the disenfranchised are suddenly powered, and the powered people are suddenly disenfranchised. It always happens. Stuff like that. But for whatever reason, people don't know how to read a damn book in this day and age, and they would see all the stuff like art imitates life. Art imitates life. All this stuff that's happening in video games is stuff that is literally happened in our world history. I mean, to a certain extent, women have been heroes. Black people have not always been slaves. Things of that nature. There's also been at least one point in our history where like there was some type of world harmony. It was probably back when it wasn't like 8.7 billion of us walking the planet. Yeah,
there's probably like 12, right? And half
Can't we all get along?
Half of them were children.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like we're getting a little off track here because we were talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you know, I'm white. I don't know if you can see that or not. I know my lighting is
so
a little
white
dim,
that I am actually like reflecting the camera. Like what you see on my screen is coming off of my skin.
When I was in college,
it's a void.
Oh my gosh.
It's a void.
Oh my god! Oh
you're blinding our audience.
Oh yes.
But when I was in college, I dated a black girl, and it was I come from a little farm town in middle of Ohio, full of white Mennonite people who don't. Yeah, look. We'll get into that story another time. Ron, we've had it discussed.
Yeah, but, I know. I dare. Y'all almost Amish or Mormon? Which ones?
I was Mormon. Something.
Matt, you're Mormon? I did not know that. Okay, ex-Mormon. Okay.
Ex-Mormon
cultists. But anyways,
wow.
Not the Mormons, the people.
Boys and girls, I did not say anything to that sort.
I did.
That was not me.
I did. Come at me with your pitchforks and your hoes and your beards. And your barn hammers.
Your hose.
That
all right.
Corey HB.
They're not online. They don't know.
You can specify which hose.
I'll just outrun your horse and buggy as you trot along the side of the road.
Oh boy.
Oh, when I was in college, I dated a black girl, and like this was in 2006, and like we got made fun of to the point where like
I was about to say that had to be really edgy on your side of town. That had to be really edgy.
I mean, I lived in Columbus at that point, so like
it was a little more liberal. It's gonna bring home the mom, huh?
Also another story for another day. It was I went there to play football because reasons, and it was I didn't know this when I was being recruited there, but it was a Catholic theologist school, and so a lot of interesting things going on there.
You fit the look though, white guy, blue eyes. Like what color was your hair? Because
it was light brown in the winter, and it was totally blonde in the summer.
Okay, so sandy blonde. Okay, yep. You had the look. You were an Ubermensch.
Yeah, if this was 1942, I would have been safe. So yeah, but it like we really liked each other, but it got like awkward for both of us, and I, with her and her friends for being around there, and like when I would hang out with them and stuff, it was like clearly way more awkward for her, and so like we ended it. But then like a couple years later, I was with a girl for 3.5 years who was half black, and like we've talked about that before too, but like my parents still like refused to acknowledge that we were together. So that was not that we talk about it often now. I mean, obviously I've been with my wife for like how long, 11 years now, and like married for 7 or 8, right?
Man, thank God your parents aren't,
right? But my wife,
parents aren't gamers. They be railing about some of the shit that goes on in video games now.
But like we talk, like my wife is Jewish, and like still that stuff comes up sometimes, right? Like
Wow.
So I mean, my mom's Baptist and my dad grew up Catholic, so it's like all over the place, man. I don't you're lucky I'm in as good shape as I am.
let me ask you guys. Let me pose something to you guys about this with Assassin's Creed. This I feel like this is a really big swing for them, because like it's a high stakes gamble at this point, because like number one, like I don't know what's going on with Ubisoft. I feel like Ubisoft is in a soft free fall right now. So like I honestly feel like Ubisoft really needs this game to be a hit. So like when you look at the fact, and I'm just using the Steam DB charts because like I can't, for whatever reason, I couldn't find like the like actual numbers for what has wishlisted on Xbox and PlayStation. Like those numbers are not as easy to find as Steam is. Like Steam puts all their stuff out there. Thank you, Valve. Thanks. But with Ubisoft having like a rough few years, like with failed live service projects, Skull and Bones, and some underwhelming releases, like like Star Wars could have been a little bit better for them, in my opinion. It's warming up now. It's warming up now, which we'll put a pin in that because I think I understand why Star Wars is warming up right now. But but if Shadows doesn't perform well, it could mean even more trouble for the company. And the company's already in big trouble. Like all their social stuff that's been going on. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, like I made this joke in our group chat, but Stephanie was like, I'm going to wait on Shadows because, typical Ubisoft's fashion, it'll go on sale in two months. I'm like, you'll be lucky if Ubisoft's around in 2 months.
That's why Star Wars is doing so well all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, it's on sale, right? Like it's like
it's under $40.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I would.
As a matter of fact, hold on. There's the spring sale is happening right now on Steam, and I know it's advertised on there. Let me see how much it is. Oh, by the way, if anyone has not bought and played the Dead Space remake, it's like $15.
Yeah. Also on Game Pass.
I'm gonna jump in here too. Just because I don't think this Assassin's Creed is going to be considered a failure. I mean, still going to sell several million. It's going to be a failure in Ubisoft's eyes regardless, because they probably want to sell like 100 million copies. But I feel like Ubisoft, the struggle for Ubisoft is that they decided to shift their focus to the live service and the quadruple A quality style games. And I feel like they don't have enough representation of various like genres and stuff, or it's the same game over and over and over again. We have our Just Dances, we have our Cruise, and then we have our massive open world adventure title. So that's all they seem to be doing, and there's nothing that's differentiating each game. Like I've heard so far in the reviews for Shadows is probably one of the best of the open world RPG Assassin's Creed, but it still runs from the same fatigue of not really differentiating itself from the other open world RPG Assassin's Creed games, other than it's in Japan.
It just feels, honestly though, it feels like Assassin's Creed just has a target on its back, because like there are open world games that come out all the time, and like Assassin's Creed has that kind of unique aspect of being set in different times and places all the time, right? Like that's the whole point of the series. And so like I don't understand the whole kind of hubbubaloo about Assassin's Creed being fatigue, because like one was like set in colonial America, and then one was a pirate game, and then one was part of the Industrial Revolution, and then one was in ancient Egypt, and then there was a Viking
one was in Valhalla.
Right?
Yeah.
So like,
I think a lot of people, I don't know, like, and I feel like Ubisoft has done enough to make the games different. Like there's been different games that like fill different types of like the gaming itch as far as like that, and have still been called Assassin's Creed, because I mean, like, we had the Ezio storyline and stuff like that. We had we've had Unity, we've had Black Flag, stuff like that. I think I don't know. I think the problem was, I think here's where the real fatigue came in, is the fact that there was a time when they were cranking them out like it was a freaking puppy mill. Like every year there was a new Assassin's Creed game, and everybody's like, "Can I please beat the last one?"
Right. But like there are definitely, I feel like, and I'm not saying this because I dislike Sony games, but like Sony games feel very similar, or they at least appear to be very similar in a lot of ways, and they aren't, right? But they don't get flack for it. I feel like Assassin's Creed is almost the same way. You know,
I feel
my thing with Assassin's Creed is that they're too big. Like they're too long.
Okay,
this
is where I'm kind of jumping into. It's meaningful content that, like, I loved Assassin's Creed. I loved the series. I loved Valhalla, but I will also admit Valhalla, like 3/4 of that game was just wandering the world, checking off the little colored balls that were on the map. And it didn't really have anything much to do with the main story of the game. Like, it was just filler to make the game as big as it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to that I agree. I think there are definitely, I've put like 130 hours into Odyssey, and it's like the game I go play when I don't know what to play, right? And so I'll play it. Like initially I played it for like 30 or 40 hours, and I like felt like I had my fill. And then right before Valhalla came out, I'm like, I'm going to go back to it. And I started playing again. I played it for like 10 hours, got my fill. And then like on and off for years, I've just been going back to Odyssey, and like I've done almost everything except for the Atlantis DLC. And I have like 130 or 40 hours in it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I've been playing this game for like I don't know how long at this point. 2018 is when it came out, so 6 or 7 years at this point. So
was Odyssey 2018? No, that's 20. I thought Odyssey
it came
was
out
2016.
it came out the year after my daughter was born, because maybe it was 2017. Maybe it came out the year my daughter was born.
Okay, because I was thinking Odyssey was right before COVID. I was thinking that, but
because I played Origins when it came out in 2016, because it was the last game I beat before my daughter was born, I think.
Yeah, Odyssey is 2018. So yeah. Origins was 2017, and then that means I didn't realize that that Valhalla came out and that had been 2020.
Yeah. Man, what a yeah, that was a year, huh? 2020.
Yeah.
Man, the year of being an essential worker, that was fun.
Well, here, before we let this topic go, let me just go ahead and just throw some things out here real quickly. As of right now, well, before we actually went live on this show, Assassin's Creed Shadows is currently in early access and has received generally positive reviews. On Metacritic, it holds an 82 out of 100 based on 60 reviews. Critical reception, like, I hated to have done it, but IGN had one of them out first. So IGN describes the game as the long-awaited Japanese adventure that as sharpens and refines its edge without fully reforging it, highlighting the engaging setting and character dynamics. Polygon wrote that they praise the intertwining of historical events with themes of revenge and belonging, but notes that repetitive RPG mechanics mar the experience, pointing out predictable mission formats and tedious side quests. And then we have Vice that commends the game as one of the most polished, elegant, and all-around best games of the franchise that the franchise has ever seen, emphasizing its polished execution and engaging gameplay. So overall, it looks like this game's not going to be snoozeville. At least if we base it off of those testimonials from IGN, Polygon, and Vice. Overall, Shadows is lauded for its rich setting, character development, and refined mechanics, though some critics mentioned concerns about the repetitive gameplay elements. By the way, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, every game has repetitive gameplay elements. It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, in Mario, what are you always doing? Jumping and stomping on stuff.
Yeah, it's just if that repetitiveness is fun and if it respects your time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Destiny. You go in and shoot guys, right? And use superpowers. And I put how many hours into that franchise? And it's like, I don't know. It's still fun to go in and shoot stuff, right?
Yeah, dude, yeah. Like I know I have tens of thousands of hours in Monster Hunter.
What?
And I've been playing for 20 years. I've been playing it's in year 21 now. Like I played every Monster Hunter game that I've ever put my hands on for hundreds of hours. And I'm talking about the mainstream ones, like Stories and Stories 2. Like I only played them and beat them and moved on. Yeah. Did you guys have any final thoughts?
Assassin's Creed is probably the series I put the most hours in out of all the video game series. combined, just due to the length of the games. And I'm still excited for this game. Like, I know the general public is probably going to be like, it's all right, or they might be suffering from the Ubisoft fatigue, but I'm still going to enjoy it. Like, it is Japan, it is Assassin's Creed. Two of my favorite things getting combined into one.
Yeah, I feel like people say they're sick of Assassin's Creed, but like Odyssey and Valhalla successively became the best-selling games in the franchise. You know,
They
like
say they're sick of Assassin's Creed, but they still go out and buy it and play it.
yeah.
So what
I mean,
is
whether
it?
people wait and buy it on sale or not, that's a different question. But like, I mean, Valhalla sold what 18 million units or something, 20 million units. So like, I mean, somebody's not tired of it. I think Ubisoft's reputation of just pumping those things out for a long time gave it the reputation of just being pumped out all the time. And, you know, but in fairness, like even though Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla are all open world RPGs, they all feel distinct and different. Like they all feel different, you know, like Valhalla feels very heavy and brutal and very deliberate, where Odyssey feels very quick and agile and kind of like that superhero fantasy of like jumping off these high cliffs and just, no fall damage or whatever. And then, Origins kind of fell somewhere in the middle, but also told like a really great story about Bayek and Aya. And I think Origins story is probably my favorite, although Odyssey, I think gameplay wise is my favorite.
Yeah, I think Origins had a good, the new stuff. Origin had the best story and also maybe the best location, in my opinion. I kind of really like that Egypt setting. Best gameplay went to Valhalla. I liked Odyssey, but I don't know.
You played as Cassandra, right?
I did play as Cassandra, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a rule that if there was one of those like romancing choices, I had to choose it. It didn't matter what the situation was. If the romance came up, I had to choose that dialogue. So it made it very awkward when when it came to the point of like running into the leader of the cult, and my options were to let them go, kill them, or sleep with them. I'm like, well, I have to go with this. So I am currently going to romance the leader of my enemy.
At least it wasn't the second in command. That would have been awkward.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Here's what I got to say, because like I may or may not play this game. Like I'm interested enough that I may pick it up when it goes on sale, but I'm not amped enough to buy it day one. As a matter of fact, the last Ubisoft game I bought like right off the bat was Mario Rabbids.
Yeah, which was the game that went on sale the fastest. But like,
yeah,
the thing though too is like that has the name Mario on the title, and you didn't know that was going to go on sale, right? Like Nintendo games never go on sale.
Exactly.
And then that game went on sale faster than any Ubisoft game I've ever seen.
So Assassin's Creed Shadows is shaping up to be an interesting case. It's got fresh ideas, a unique setting, and a diverse cast. Diverse. There you go. But the lack of pre-release hype is definitely concerning. It is. Ubisoft is banking on this game to turn things around, but will it actually deliver? Or are we looking at another big budget misstep? In all seriousness, based on Metacritic right now, this is not a misstep.
Variety gave it a really good score too.
Yeah. We all know the game had delays. These delays were meant to ensure quality and new gameplay mechanics that could shake things up. And so this has the potential to be a standout Assassin's Creed title. So we're just waiting to see, once the general population has it, if it's all going to come together for them. At the end of the day, the big question is, will Shadows reignite the Assassin's Creed fan base, or will it just be another case of wait for a sale? Guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. I hope that people waiting for it to go on sale doesn't cause it to, because like I really like Ubisoft games, like the checkbox kind of tower unlocking go around, like just the way my brain works, it really helps me move through the game actually a little bit. Although sometimes like the question marks and stuff in the different areas really kind of like, I don't know, makes me anxious because there's so many, but also like it's like, oh, I can just go do that. So
yeah,
I hope people buy this one.
Mhm.
So
yeah, for real. Me too. Like I don't know. Maybe it's because of my skin color or whatnot. I don't want this game to fail.
We gotta
maybe
remember to clear some room.
I'm pretty sure if this game fails, it's not going to be because the
because of the protagonist. Yeah, like nah, like yeah, I don't think so either.
That reminds me because it is, I believe, pre-downloading as of tonight or today. I got to clear some space because I think it's supposed to be like 100 and some gig.
That's called the texture pack.
It's called something.
All right. Well, we ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right.
Do it, LeRon. Do it, LeRon.
By the way, real quickly,
no.
Don't forget, like, follow, and subscribe if you love us.
Love
we'll
me.
remind you again.
I beg you.
We'll remind you again.
I beg you to love me. Oh boy. Everybody out there, if you're in the chat, say hello. Welcome. We appreciate you being here on our live shows. I'm LeRon, before we get into our next topic.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to do live shows again. I think it's what we've been missing.
You think so?
I think it's what we've been missing to be energized, because I think the chat energizes us. I think, answering their questions on the fly kind of rejuvenates us and kind of gives us more of a, I don't know. I feel like it's what we've been missing. So
okay, I can feel that. I'll be honest with you. Like during the Crossroads days, you remember we were doing lives, and because like Corey, like you mentored me through all this streaming stuff and stuff like that. So we did lives all the way up to episode like 110. No. That doesn't seem right. That
I think is the last one.
Actually, 113 is the last episode. But I think we're well into like the 70s before, like, I cut back on lives because like I feel like well, for me, I had a hard time keeping track of the Steam chat of the stream chat, and that right there was causing me to lose like live viewers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're on StreamYard now, and like this is so much easier.
I know. I mean, look, we're streaming to 3 platforms, and
with
like
3 platforms and
all the chats right here, and like
yes,
you can choose which platforms you're chatting with, right? Like that's cool. Or you can chat with them all. Although you can't comment on Twitter posts apparently. So
yeah,
that's cool. Which I didn't notice because Ed and I did a test stream for Pow Block the other night, and I was answering people in the Twitter chat, and I didn't notice that like. See how it says all down there, and X is grayed out because you can't reply to X posts apparently.
Who cares about Muskrat's platform anyway?
Well, 23 of our viewers do.
Hi.
I just think you can't stream Blue Sky yet, so maybe that's why.
I'm pretty sure that's coming.
I would much rather be streaming there, honestly, instead of Twitter, and when that's available, we'll definitely be switching to that. But
they are taking their damn time putting in new incorporations to that, because I still am waiting for the chance to put pictures in direct messages.
What kind of pictures you sending, Pat? Anything special?
Pictures of kitties.
That's what you call it now,
huh? I'm sure there's pictures of cat.
Oh, there will be cat pictures aplenty. Cat pictures aplenty.
Listen, man, stop playing with the pussycat.
Jeez.
Also,
let me stop. Someone's gonna take my microphone away.
Oh my gosh! What did you see? What Nelly put in the chat?
Yeah, I should. Yes, I did.
That's a Crossroads callback.
I know.
I think we scared Brody off the show. That's why.
Nelly, my mani pedi game is not strong right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and move into our next topic here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you know what? I will say this: like, there's some exciting things coming down the pipe, like Housemarque's new project. And speaking of Housemarque, let's talk about their journey with PlayStation and like the whole arcade resurgence thing that they've got going on. So you may not be aware of this, but the industry for gaming is constantly evolving, and the relationship between independent studios and major publishers plays a huge role in shaping that evolution. In a recent interview with Twisted Voxel, Housemarque CEO Ilari Kiotinen, I'm pretty sure I said that right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that right. Shared insights on the studio's partnership with PlayStation, how Sony's backing has impacted their creative freedom, and what the future holds for arcade-inspired games. This raises an interesting debate, though. How do developers balance artistic vision with financial support? And could we be seeing a resurgence of niche gaming genres thanks to major publisher investments? So you know the deal. Let's dive into the impact of these industry dynamics and what it means for the future of gaming. I put together a few talking points for us, just to help us out this time. So if we go down the numbers, right? Let's talk about the importance of PlayStation support for Housemarque. Now, a lot of people may know Housemarque started off as a studio that they put out a shooter type game that was definitely throwback called Resogun. And then this company evolved to make the Titan that is called Returnal. Housemarque has been a staple in the arcade-style gaming niche for years. However, the studio faced financial challenges despite all this critical acclaim that they've gotten. When PlayStation invested in them, this allowed Housemarque to take risks and create a bomb-tastic AAA title that's Returnal, which Corey will never play because he hates roguelikes.
Right, I will not.
But roguelike Returnal blended their arcade roots with modern storytelling and gameplay. So here's a question for you guys. How important do you feel is financial backing from major publishers like PlayStation for smaller studios to innovate and take creative risk? By the way, I'm kind of glad I framed this question because remember how everyone was arguing about Dave the Diver at the Game Awards?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is where this shit makes a difference.
Yeah. Oh man. So I mean, I think stuff like this has started earlier than we kind of realize. Like, you look at Insomniac, right? A clearly independent studio working with Sony to make Ratchet and Clank all the way back on the PS2, and Bungie kind of when they left Microsoft, working with Activision as an independent entity, and not that they're in a great position right now, but still. But I think when you look at how studios kind of have evolved over the years and what we kind of deem independent is kind of different from the true word of independent, right? Because you look at someone like Bungie and that is clearly a AAA studio, right? But up until recently, they were technically independent. Same with Insomniac, same with, some of these other companies like Ninja Theory that, purchased by Microsoft. So I think that this partner, I think that's might be the strategy moving forward. And Sony has clearly shown that they want to partner with companies instead of straight up buying them, right?
Yeah.
I guess besides the run of Jim Ryan purchases, right? Like you look at Stellar Blade, I think is a perfect example, right? Shift Up makes a game, Sony helps kind of fund it and publish it, right, on PlayStation. Rise of the Ronin, partnership game. I think Sony is actually doing a really, really great job of this, and that they're doing the China Hero Project and the India Hero Project and the what is it, the MENA Hero Project, which is like the Middle East and North Africa area, and finding developers in those areas, right? And we got Black Myth Wukong out of that, and there's a few other games coming. So, if you want to talk about partnering with, kind of these independent studios wanting to get their games out. Sony, I think, is doing the best job.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's where a lot of people like. I don't know. I feel like that's where a lot of people do not like give like Sony the credit for. Like Sony actually doesn't just buy up these studios; they invest in them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, they actually give them like the will, the room to do what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we look at Naughty Dog's like canceled like games as a service project, Sony let them do that. Sony didn't tell them they had to do it. Sony let them do that, and then like they let Bungie team like kind of like oversee it and give them background and stuff on it. And when Bungie was like, hey, like if you guys are gonna commit to this, like whatever projects you have going on, like they're supposed to be like your single player project, this is gonna take up all that time and so like that. And Naughty Dog was like, no, we got better things to do.
Right.
So and you can say what you want, like people are gonna say Bungie was the bad guy on that one, right? But it was obviously something that Bungie gave like the team Naughty Dog enough mentorship and know-how to say like, hey, like it's one or the other here. You can't have both. And Naughty Dog was like, you know what? We're good. We're gonna stick with what we know.
Right.
And by what we know, I don't mean they are making another sequel to Last of Us, because you see like they're making a whole new IP and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think. I wonder if Neil Druckmann is just kind of tired of being in that world, or like while the show is going on, he just wants to be in some other kind of space, which is why, they've kind of teased that Intergalactic is more of a lighthearted, less serious kind of not apocalyptic game, right? So,
yeah. Sorry, I had my mic muted for a second there because I was opening a bag of M&Ms.
He's snacking, everybody.
I know, right?
Surprise!
Same old thing. Yeah. Actually, I feel like with Neil Druckmann, I feel like the moment The Last of Us became a TV show, I feel like he was satisfied with the franchise at that point.
Mm-hmm.
He even got the star in it. He was as a dead guy, but he got the star in it.
Yeah. I mean, I still think there's going to be a part 3 coming, right? I
don't know. I don't think
the show is going to end the series. Like the show, I don't think the show is going to go beyond the games. You don't think? Like,
no, the show has the show has a concrete path. It's got 3 seasons, and all it's going to talk about is the first 2 games.
They say it could actually go up to 4 or 5 seasons if they wanted to.
Because they want to stretch. They want to stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So The Last of Us Part 2 is such a big ass game.
That, and they want to keep bringing in the money as much as they can. That's why you have The Hobbit that literally did a 3rd movie on just the last 8 pages of the book.
That was weird. That was weird.
That's one of Warner Brothers' many great decisions of the last decade.
Yeah.
I would be okay if they didn't continue on with The Last of Us. To be perfectly honest, I think the ending was perfect in the sense that like everyone kind of got their just reward, and that the theme of the story like ended itself the way I feel it should. Like they stopped that boulder of the revenge cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really want to go into too much more in the spoiler territories, but
yeah, I legit feel like The Last of Us never needed a sequel.
It didn't.
Yeah,
and
but now
so I think 2 ended in a way that it also does not need a sequel.
Mm-hmm. I'll be playing 2 soon.
That's
no, they could still revisit the world, maybe tell someone else's story. Like they did mention like there were like other factions out there, but I feel like we don't need to continue on with the Ellie story.
Yeah. That's a good segue, right? Because like let's talk about creative freedom versus corporate expectations. Quinton emphasized that PlayStation has given Housemarque significant creative freedom, allowing them to stay true to their vision while scaling up their projects. So how do you feel with studios? How think you're doing with the balance of maintaining studio identity with the pressure to deliver like commercially successful games? And like there's a big counter to that in a second here.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a thought. Now I lost it. Pat, help me. Help.
How does the studio balance maintain their identity? I mean, I gotta admit, Sony definitely does a better job in letting like the developer actually have their name on the game, where
Yeah.
you have companies like Nintendo, which you could have Way Forward do the design of the game, or like Intelligent Systems, but it is Nintendo on the box.
Yeah.
So like,
or even worse, like right, like if you were to use Nintendo for an example, right, did we need when Bayonetta, the first Bayonetta game, came to Switch, did we need what was Switch or Wii U? Like
well,
Bayonetta,
it was a combo pack of Wii U. It had 1 and 2 in it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought it was
2 came out on the Wii U. Bayonetta, I don't think ever was on the Wii U. I think that one specifically became it. What I thought this combo was on the Switch.
No, the combo, the first print of Bayonetta 2 on the Wii U came with a disc of Bayonetta 1.
I thought it was a download code for Bayonetta 1 on the Switch. Because I have Bayonetta 1 on the Switch, but I don't recall.
On Switch, it was a download code. On the Wii U, it was a disc.
Yeah.
For Bayonetta 1.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I brought Bayonetta up, for example, because like you guys invoke Nintendo's name, is because like I was like, did she need like the Princess Peach and the Zero suit? Well, she did need the Zero suit, but did she need the Princess Peach costume?
I mean, I think the worst offender was the Star Fox costume. I'm like, what is even happening?
That was even like when Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was on the Wii U, right? Like
the Wii U edition.
Yeah, like you had Kazuya and Heihachi in Mario and Luigi costumes. You had Anna. You had Anna and Anna Williams in the freaking in Anna Williams was in the freaking whatchamacallit, the Zero suit, which
it was disturbing.
Yeah, that's my girl, so she can wear whatever she wants. Then you had Zafina in the freaking like the traditional Metroid suit, and I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
I'm like well, Samus does kind of move that way, but it's like, what's going on here?
Right. I think, man, I'm gonna try to avoid this topic now. Or the Bayonetta topic, not the topic at hand. I think when you look at kind of creative freedom, I think you can look at a company like EA who has clearly done it both ways, right? Where like
you're reading my mind.
Like their EA originals are giving these kind of smaller independent companies funding and creative freedom to do the games that they want, right? And like sometimes it works, like with Joseph Ferris's games, and sometimes they don't, like with Tales of Kinsara last year, or there's been quite a few EA originals that haven't done great, but but those games get to keep their creative freedom, whereas like, oh, the Madden team has to make a simulation football game for every year, and they have to pump it out in 9 months, right? Or, obviously Dead Space, they have trickled out certain things, right? And like you look at Dragon Age, I think is like maybe the the most recent example of like, hey, let's let the team make something that they want. We're going to give them time. We're going to give them, allow them to put the effort into it, and we'll release it and see what happens. And I think that's going to scare EA away from trying other things. Honestly, they're going to rely on Old Faithful. They're going to rely on Battlefield. They're going to rely on Star Wars. They're going to rely on what's the other game that their sports games, and they're going to rely on these EA originals to be their creative backbone, right? That's how I see them moving forward. Mass Effect also. right? So
yeah, like so you read my mind because I was going to ask how does Housemarque's experience contrast with other studios that have struggled under publisher constraints, like EA, for example. Shit, to a certain extent, even Microsoft. Like, I mean, I feel like Microsoft fumbled the bag, just as well as they handled it, with the whole with their two big acquisitions last year.
Yeah. I mean, they fumbled is a term.
Yeah.
It's like really, the thing is too, is like the risk reward is like extremely painful at this point, because like budgets are so high that you need to do what works in order for people to recognize and even pay attention to your game. But also, like, new IP could become potentially something really interesting and fun. Like, look what Sony did with Horizon on the PS4, right? And Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, right? These are all new IP that have stuck out. But then they have something like Concord, which is like an extreme failure, like embarrassingly so.
Yeah.
And so, like, and obviously, like, studio reputation may have, some pull in some sway, one way or another. Like, when Intergalactic comes out and it says made by the team that brought you Uncharted and The Last of Us, right? That's gonna pull some weight, right? Definitely. But like, you have something from, like, let's say, I don't know, Team Asobi, right? And like, yeah, Astrobot is a great game, but like, I guarantee you walk up to somebody and say, which studio do you recognize, Naughty Dog or Team Asobi? They're going to pick Naughty Dog, 99 out of 100 times, right?
Yeah, Naughty Dog or Santa Monica Studio. They are the names. Most people will gonna sell Naughty Dog and Santa Monica Studio before they even talk about like Insomniac.
Yeah, Insomniac is up there.
Insomniac is up there.
No, they've been up there. I would put them even higher than Santa Monica because of the fact that they've been around. I feel longer.
Everybody always thinks God of War. When we say PlayStation, they always say God of War.
One thing I do want to point out too, while we're on this discussion with Sony, I think studios owned by the platform holders have a distinct advantage over creative freedom than third-party publishers or third-party studios as well. Because like, you don't think about it really. You think about budgets of these games, and this is the budget that Sony gives these games, right? But like, the platform holders are making passive money. They make 30% rip off of every single thing sold on the PlayStation Store, right? Every Fortnite skin, every Warzone battle pass, every game, every DLC pack, right? Like, they're making 30% off of everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, that's going to fund a lot of these games. Like, like that budget can just be like that quote unquote passive money, and then you put the money that the game earns back into another project, right? Or build up a team, or maybe even open a new studio and grow it organically, right? And so that's an advantage that I think especially Sony has, and Microsoft is trying to do. But also, like, when they have creative freedom, and Game Pass, like, the studio closes, Tango GameWorks, right? I mean, I know they didn't technically close, they were bought and saved, but like, still, and now I'm afraid Microsoft is going to fall back into that trap of like, it's Halo, Gears, Forza, and Fable. Here we go. And not that I'm opposed to that. I love Gears and I love Fable, but like, Avowed and South of Midnight and Hellblade 2 are like such a breath of fresh air and something that Microsoft desperately needs.
They feel like the future.
Yeah. And like,
obviously, and not more of the same.
And obviously Microsoft owns more than just Xbox now, right? With Bethesda and Activision, but like, Activision is still Call of Duty, and Blizzard, Blizzard is still Overwatch and World of Warcraft, right? These are names that have been around forever, and creative freedom, man. It's do it at your own risk, right? I think Obsidian is the one that has had its cake and ate it too, right? Like the Outer Worlds was a success. Avowed seems to be a success, but those successes allowed them to make something like Pentiment, right? Which is like that weird choose your own adventure history game, or Grounded. And, granted, both those teams were made by teams of less than 20 people, right? But like, still, but it also helps to have Josh Sawyer on your side and kind of stalemate Microsoft, say, hey, I'm going to leave if you don't let me make Pentiment or experiment with Grounded, right? You've already lost enough people from these other studios that like losing Josh Sawyer would just be another kind of stab,
Yep, true. Yeah. So real quickly here, like, I want to touch on one more thing before we wrap this topic up. This is more about PlayStation, on this point, with the success of Returnal, Housemarque is now a first party studio at PlayStation, signaling a long-term partnership. So factoring in PlayStation's overall strategy, because like we have mentioned that, like PlayStation was buying up IPs, but they were giving them, like the creative and technical freedom to do what they want to do and stuff like that. How does investing in studios like Housemarque will benefit PlayStation's portfolio overall, especially in this competitive market that's dominated by Xbox Game Pass and Nintendo exclusives? Let's not all talk at once.
Man,
I don't like the idea of investing in studios anymore, to be perfectly honest with you, because just to the fact that we've been having the issues, like, yeah, we had the success of like some studios, but a lot of these studios getting invested in are getting laid off or studio closures. So it for me, it kind of scares me, even if it's someone like Sony that's buying it, because there's going to be a redundant in staff and people are going to lose jobs.
Well, that is fair, but Sony is like the least offender,
Yeah, I mean, Warner Brothers is the most recent.
I'm still pointing at Bungie.
Bungie would have, if Bungie was not a first party studio for Sony, Bungie would have let all those people go on their own anyway.
Yeah, they would have. I mean, Bungie was in such financial trouble that nobody even knew about, right? Like
Bungie was ruining themselves long before Sony came in. As a matter of fact, I feel like Sony did for Bungie what Xbox did for Activision.
I mean,
that's still.
I think
Activision's not a good example either, because
Activision's not a good example. Activision's not a good example, but Activision was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, but that was a non-business related issue, right? I mean, that was like the whole
they're just
Bill
their
Cosby room and like the whole
the Bill Cosby room. Oh God, I forgot about that.
Which I actually listened to an interview of somebody who was there at the time, and that happened. Like that picture was taken way before Bill Cosby was like even attached to anything like that, right? And like they called it that because the carpet looked like the sweaters he would wear in the Cosby Show, apparently.
Okay, so not for the going ons.
Like 80% of that people in that picture got fired for allegations, right? Or had things brought up against them. So like, still might apply in a different way.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, so maybe what I did was a bad example. I feel like sometimes, and I'm going to use Dave the Diver as an example, because like, yeah, I railed against the fact that, like it was a contender for like, like game of the year, actually, wait, no, it wasn't. Wait, wasn't it game of the year? No, it wasn't game of the year.
Indie game of the year.
Indie game of the year, even though it was backed by a major, even though it was funded by a major publisher. Yeah. by a bigger publisher and stuff like that. I feel like for the most part, like independent studios, like they're great in their own element and stuff like that, but I always feel like they're always going to need some type of backing. Like look at Ember Lab with Kena Bridge of Spirits. Like Sony fronted them on that one and stuff like that. Ember Lab is not, as far as I know, Ember Lab is not first party, but I think Ember Lab like recently announced that their next project is going to be with Sony anyway, and stuff like that,
Yeah, and Kena ended up coming to Xbox also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and they were able to keep their creative freedom, even though like Sony backed most of the money on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ember Lab, for that code for Kena. Didn't ask for it, but they sent it over. So
yeah. Shoot, like Capcom, like where was my Monster Hunter code? No, let me stop being ungrateful. They're probably like, oh, is that LeRon guy? He's gonna buy this game anyway. We're not sending him a code. Oh boy. Yeah. All right, so Housemarque's evolution from a small indie studio to a PlayStation first-party developer is a perfect example of how the game industry is always changing. Their journey proves that creative freedom and strategic partnerships can go hand in hand while also ahead. And it's clear that the balance between artistic vision and financial backing will continue to shape the future of gaming.
I can hear, before you finish that, I can hear the chat screaming at us if we don't mention Arrowhead and Helldivers 2.
Oh, hell yes.
Hell yes. Just wanted a quick nod to Helldivers as one of the biggest success stories of last year.
Yep. So there it is. Like industry strengths, are they leading to an innovation or are they coming at a cost? Like, there we go.
Nailed it. We did it, everybody.
Guys, we're having a lot of fun.
I'm always having fun.
No. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe you're right. Maybe like the lives is like really reinvigorating us. Maybe it is.
I'm telling you, we have a pretty active chat and across all the platforms. We have view like it's. I'm telling you, the live stuff is going to energize us. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right, what we want to do now?
I mean, we should probably talk about what we've been playing, right? I mean,
okay. I mean, like anyone's been watching this show knows what I've been playing.
What have you been playing, LeRon? Surprise me.
Monster Hunter.
What?
Yeah. I've been playing. Like I said earlier in the show, I've been playing Monster Hunter kind of slow though, because like I got friends who are easily lapping me in like HR and overall like experience and stuff like that. Whereas I'm just taking my time. I'm just doing my missions. I'm helping out Andre and Matt with stuff. Like Andre and I finally linked up on the game yesterday for the first time. Like, I don't know, like it was like he was afraid to play with me because like, like he was like so far behind or whatnot. And all of a sudden he jumps on Discord. It's like, hey, let's run some maps. I was like, oh, you actually remembered me. You want to play with me and stuff like that. Whereas Matt will call me like in the middle of the night and not realize I'm asleep.
I miss Matt. I haven't talked to him in a while.
Yeah, he and I have been playing Monster Hunter, and he actually introduced me to one of his friends that's also a Monster Hunter player and stuff like that. So we got a nice little squad going on. And Pat, I can't wait to play with you, even though I saw you haven't logged on in like 2 weeks. The game tells on you like last time online, and it gives you an actual date. It's like Pat hasn't played this game in 2 weeks.
It's because I jumped to other things. I'll get back to it eventually. Maybe not for like a while, but
3 Trails games came out this week. LeRon, settle down.
Is that true?
I don't know. No,
but no. We got Assassin's Creed Shadows and Xenoblade Chronicles X coming out this week, though. So
yeah, that is as a matter of fact, that's Xenoblade Chronicles X is probably the game of. Actually, Assassin's Creed Shadows and Xenoblade Chronicles X are probably fighting for game of the week this week. But those are the ones I would say are the ones to watch. Corey, also Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, the complete edition is hitting too.
Nope. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is the worst one.
Okay.
Nope. You want Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. If you're waiting for a physical, it comes out in April. Just wait.
Okay. Atli or Yumia. So there you go for you JRPG fans. There's a new one coming out there. And
anime boot game. Give it to me.
And it's a hotly anticipated game too.
People are actually liking it, so
I'm sure they are.
And today, March 18th, 33 Immortals hit early access on Xbox Series X and PC.
Oh, that's that weird multiplayer game they showed off last year.
Yeah.
Thunderful, if I'm remembering correctly. Thunderful games.
You mean the studio? Is that the name?
Yeah.
Maybe. I think so. I'm not kidding. Thunder Lotus Games.
Whatever. I knew Thunder was in there somewhere. Anyways, I have purchased Xenoblade Chronicles X. I will be picking it up on Thursday. Which means I will have been playing this for about a week by the time you hear this episode on podcast services, but I'm quite excited. Finished Fire Emblem just in time.
Nice.
So
nice. I guess I should get back. Oh, I mean, I guess I should put down Monster Hunter to play something.
Nope. Keep playing. Keep going.
Thank you. I love when you encourage me.
Play what you love, LeRon.
No, you just want to beat more games than I've beaten this year. That's all.
That's not true.
Because we're tied right now.
I want to. So I said this
Hey, look at that. Look at that. We're averaging a game a month right now. We're in the third month of the year, and we've beaten 3 games.
Yeah. Of course, one of the games I beat this year, I was already on the second to last level when the year started.
Hey, a win is a win.
No, I mean, like I said on PAL Block earlier this year, I was just like, I'm focusing on the games that I want to play this year and less on new games, because I feel like especially the way our Game of the Year stuff is set up, like it's not on me to pick Game of the Year. It's on everybody else in the community and the and socials and stuff. So like, I don't play. Also, Switch 2 is coming out, and for Power Block we'll have to cover that. So like, I'm really focused on things like that, like backlog stuff. So, is that the only game you're playing there on? Is Monster Hunter?
That is the only game I've actually played in the last 2 weeks.
Are you wearing any hot armor, as the kids say?
Okay, so I've been messing around with the armor because in this game, like you can actually your gender no longer defines what you can wear now. So like like guys can wear female armor, women can wear male armor and stuff like that. I've been messing around. I've been trying to make like really slutty uniforms. And I'm like, what, my guy's build, because I built a guy that basically like he's like the avatar version of me in the game and stuff like that. And I'm like, what? I can't wear these Daisy Dukes. This doesn't look right on my character and stuff like that. Even though there is an outfit, the Dober outfit, like the female, like is a thong. And I put that on. And I was like, doesn't look too bad, but doesn't.
Man, what?
Oh man, like like I'm out there in the thong and stuff. I'm like, nah. I tried. I tried. Actually, there are some male and female. There are some mixed armors with male and female variants that actually look decent. I feel like the female characters look boss ass, like like wearing the male armor, whereas the males wearing the female armor is like, what are you doing?
I mean, yeah,
as long as it's got good stats.
Yeah.
All about the stats.
Yep. Don't matter how it looks, as long as it protects you in the right spots.
The less material, the higher the stats. Am I right?
That's how these games work.
And the weirder the color.
Well, what is a thong protecting?
Well, clearly fire damage.
It's protecting you from that AO rating.
Am I wrong? I would neither confirm or deny. I will, because I know there are people out there wondering. Like, I am running mods, but I'm not running anything that's like heinous or making me cheat the game, and I'm definitely not running anything that's going to get me banned. Like, hint noob mods. Like, people with noob mods, y'all are weird. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, like y'all are weird. Yeah, weird. Everybody out there hunting giant beasts and stuff. They're trying to eat you, and like with all your naughty bits hanging out. Like, what's happening?
To draw them in.
I did kind of like the one where they turn Gemma into, or turn a Congalanga into a Gemma.
No.
And so you're fighting the giant. So you're fighting the giant Gemma, and she
all
turns
these words
around.
Oh no!
All these words sound terrifying.
Just imagine some of those attacks.
There's a mod out there where you can remove all the monsters like fur, like, because like most monsters have a variation of like fur and scales and stuff like that. But there's some monsters out there that are nothing but fur. So like seeing a naked Congalala is just interesting.
All these words you're saying are giving me a headache. I don't understand them.
Play Monster Hunter, find out.
Dang.
Yeah, that's all I've been playing. And it says right there in my sub tag, like, play Monster Hunter Wilds.
My tag says I finally finished a game.
And we're so happy for you.
I know. Speak of the devil, look who's in chat. Look at that guy.
Hey.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
This guy thinks he can just roll into our chat and
I just shouted you out, dude. Like how we've been playing Monster Hunter, man. Love you, bro. My fellow hunters for hire.
Does it make you feel good that I am also hunting a monster right now in Fire Emblem?
What monster?
I'm on the so I finished the main game after 78 heartfelt hours. I have to say, man, I know a lot of the Boss Rush community are Three Houses stands, and I was also. But man, those last like 10 hours of Engage, I think I like Engage better than Three Houses. Man, and the ending was just so like, man, there's this like entering the final battle, there's like this like you get this like really high like anxiety because you think like something is happening and it does kind of happen. But then there's like this we'll call it a Fire Emblem's Avengers Endgame moment. And it was like I was like getting really hyped, and I was like, I don't know if I'm allowed to be hyped right now. I kind of feel like I don't know. It gave me that same feeling though, like when I watched Endgame in the theater for the first time. And then the final battle happens, and then like the ending of the game was just pretty perfect, actually. So I'm glad I saw it through. I'm glad that I went back and played it. And you have to thank the mobile game, the really questionable. Speaking of armor sets that are, yeah, I really enjoyed Fire Emblem Engage. If you have a chance to play it, if you're looking for some sort of strategy game, the first, I would say the first 3 chapters are like very, not hit or miss, but they're very like, I think it's the part that everybody thinks of when they're like, oh, I think I like Three Houses better. And these are the chapters that are like, this is why people think Three Houses is better. But keep going. I think the characters are interesting. I think there are some twists in the story that are probably pretty stereotypical for anime stuff, but I don't watch anime. So I was like, twist. And then I was like, oh, a twist on the twist. And then I was like, triple twist. And I was like, yeah, that happened.
So twisty.
Yeah, it was very twisty. So now I finished the Three Houses DLC that comes with it, or that is part of the season pass. So I finished that, which was fine. less Three Houses-y and more here. Here are all the Fire Emblem characters that you remember that we didn't include in the main game, huh? Huh? Remember? Remember these? Remember these guys? Huh? Remember that green-haired girl that turns into a dragon? Huh? I do. So I beat
She
that,
may
and
look
now
12, but she is thousands of years old.
yeah. Well, it depends on which game you're playing, right? I mean, Awakening, she's a grown ass woman. In whatever the DS game is, Shadow Dragon, she is a child. Same character. So I don't know. But
same in Tokyo Mirage.
Yeah.
Also a child.
Yep. All right. So I've been the last thing I've been playing though is the Fell Xenologue DLC, which is like you get sucked into this alternate dimension of the same, like it's a different universe with all the same characters, but like they all have different roles and have different personalities, and like your friends are now your enemies and your enemies are now your friends, and like there are some twists and turns, and it's fine. It's 6 chapters long. I'm on the last chapter. I'm in the middle of the final boss fight right now, actually. I thought I was going to have it finished by the time, we got here tonight, but I did not. Because I did not anticipate how long the last 2 chapters are. Holy crap, dude. I played chapter 5 for 2 hours last night. It's hardcore strategy. This is like hardcore old school Fire Emblem, man, where it's like there's no grinding, there's no anything. Your characters are who they are, and you better buckle up. So, yeah. So that's what I've been playing. That's it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to play next. It's probably going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X. Honestly, I wanted to play Xenoblade Chronicles 1 at least first, but I'm clearly not gonna finish that before it comes out.
That would have been a commitment.
Yeah. Not longer of a commitment than Engage has been for me though.
Yeah, you could literally start Xenoblade Chronicles 1, play it for until Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out, and you still won't be done. Like literally just nonstop, not even taking a moment to sleep.
Yep.
Just keep playing it. You will not be finished with it before the game comes out.
Yep. So, but that's it. That's all I've been playing. Pat, we'll wrap with you.
Awesome, because I'm the last one here. We got a Xbox game that I decided to play because I decided to finally go and get a new controller because my current Xbox controller has a stick drift.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So now I have this very fancy looking green controller.
Ooh, the Velocity
Xbox
green one?
The Velocity green one.
Yeah.
And I decided to also get a battery pack with it to stop wasting batteries.
Smart.
So far, so good. But yeah, I decided to try Avowed because I was in the mood for something that I just kind of like take on some random quests and beat some monsters. And it's a pretty decent game. I would refer to it almost as an Elder Scrolls Light game because there are like the choice in terms of like freedom, like it's not exactly an open world. It is more open zone. And like you can't really scale up all these mountains. There are set paths that you can take in the zones, so you can't just like go anywhere and everywhere trying to climb up those mountains by finding those little teeny footholds that don't make you slide. I remember doing that all the time in Skyrim. Can't do that in this game. In fact, there are invisible walls sometimes when you're trying to climb those mountains. They won't let you.
So thing is, you see that
that's a little lame.
See that mountain over there? You can't go there.
No, you can look at it, but you can't touch. But also, there are choices that you can do in this game and things that you can't do in this game. So, like, there are story choices that can make you into a bad guy, but at the same time, you can't exactly do bad guy like things. You can basically steal items right in front of people, and they won't care. In fact, one guy saw me going into his room. He's like, "You won't find anything back there." I did find something back there, and I took it. And you know what? He didn't do a damn thing about it, except be like, "I mapped that area quite well. You won't have to explore it." It's like, yeah, shut up.
You're such a
Uh,
rebel.
yeah. Um, it is the combat is a lot of fun though. I will give it to that. I'm playing it in the first person mode, and it there's I would say it feels more fluid than like the Elder Scrolls game. Like you got to block, you got to be able to like dodge out of the way from enemy attacks. Otherwise, you are going to get your ass kicked. Even depending on what difficulty you choose, and you can choose from like I think 4 different difficulties in this game. Um, in terms of your character build, that is entirely up to you. You can choose a class right in the beginning, or like it's kind of like, yeah, I guess I would call it a class. It's something that sets you apart from other characters, and really all it does is it gives you more options and dialogue choices. Um, Other than that, like I chose it was a scout kind of class because I was hoping to go more into a ranger style. But in all honesty, I could just pick up a wand and start throwing like slinging magic all around, and it won't really affect how my play style. So really, the only thing that affects what you do is the stats that you or the points that you put into your stats later. So you can improve the main stats like your strength and your dexterity, like all other games, or you can put your points into skills, and then use those for you know whether they're passive or something that you can command attack. The world itself is gorgeous. I would say that's probably Avowed's strongest point is just how beautiful the living lands are. It is very nature-ish, um, and it's nature being practically overrun by more nature. Like there are mushrooms and vines and just flora and fauna. Well, maybe not the fauna. Fauna be more monsters, but the flora is literally everywhere in this game, and it's a really fun world to explore because even at nighttime, all the fungi start kind of glowing in different colors, and uh, it's one of the more my favorite kind of environments to actually explore at night, just because of the colors. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Avatar in that regard. Story, I have no clue what's going on with the story. It's part of the Pillars of Eternity series. So a lot of that lore and things that they talk about is just completely like new to me. I don't quite understand. Like there are various patron gods, and you are a god. Uh, was it a god like? Was it? And basically, you were touched by a god while you were in the womb, and so it gives you a very fucked up looking face.
Whoa.
Yes. Basically, like you can design your character, but they're going to have a flaw where they have a fungus or some sort of plant thing coming out of your face. And you can hide it. You have the option of hiding it in the game, but people are still going to comment like, "Holy shit, what the hell's wrong with your face?"
Wow.
So
people say that to me
it's
outside of games, Pat.
yeah, it's I don't know. It's a unique little quirk. Obsidian's um dialogue choices are also kind of spanning on the sarcastic and just like almost non-serious choices. There are some like some of the choices are running from like there's usually a good choice where they're more pious character, or there's a choice where you come off as more selfish, or there's choices where that's basically like you're just joking around, or you can lie, or you can um, I don't know. You have choices based on your class or whatever like points you put into your different like traits. But honestly, a lot of those choices don't seem to really have much of a draw or like a change in this game, even though I know like this is supposed to be a game that has like consequences matter. I haven't really run into anything that has severely made me question my choices right now. So I feel like I don't know. Like it might. I don't think I'm going to be really playing this game much for the story, just because the story hasn't drawn me in. It's more I'm playing this game for the exploration factor and just finding random quests to do and fulfilling those. Um, but it is a very pretty game. Like it's been a fun diversion while I'm waiting for Assassin's Creed and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people have been playing it and are really like enjoying it. This is very clearly like the Outer Worlds, version of their Skyrim, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
kind of smaller experience and kind of, which I think is what Obsidian is good at, right? And like that smaller kind of storytelling experience, smaller RPGs kind of I always think of like, obviously I think everybody thinks of New Vegas from them, but I think I usually think of like KOTOR 2 and also infamously Unfinished and uh South Park. Those are the two games that I really think of when I think of Obsidian that I really like. So I'm
Wait,
glad
which
people are
South
enjoying
Park did they do? Which South Park did they
Stick of
do?
Truth.
Did they?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting, because that was an Ubisoft. All right, interesting.
Yeah. Well, it was originally THQ, and then obviously THQ dropped the ball somewhere on their business plan.
And then there's one game that I literally beat in one day, and that's the one for our book club this month, and that's mouthwashing. And let me tell you, it's an experience. It is one of those that you're like, well, that's a game now. Okay.
That happened.
Mm-hmm. I can't really talk about it because a lot of it would basically spoil the game.
Is it like a
But let's
Doki
just
Doki Literature Club situation where like don't look anything up and don't just play it and see what happens type thing?
I don't think I don't think the twist is as big as Doki Doki, but it's probably one of those games that if you go in without knowing much about it, like the
Mm-hmm.
game portrays itself as a story of watching a crew that has crashed, a freighter crew, space freighter crew that has crashed,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like their survival story. But let's just say survival gets fucked up sometimes.
Mm.
And you get more event horizon situations going on.
Oh boy.
Jeez. All right.
Hmm. But if you want to hear more about my thoughts about mouthwashing, stay tuned for book club.
Book club. If you're a patron, you get mouthwashing this month. Just saying. Next,
Yeah. Yeah.
the end
So
of the month.
Special guest Kim Chica.
spend
Yeah.
that dollar.
Spend it. What else are you going to spend $1 on? Come on. Spend it on LeRon and Pat. Maybe not me, because I'm not special, but they are. So
Yeah, that $1 can save my kitty's life because then I won't have to eat her.
oh jeez. That got dark.
That's mouthwashing for you.
Oh God.
Corey, take
Well,
us home. Take us home,
I,
Corey.
I am home.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess we should probably wrap this up, huh? So I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush podcast live. We're gonna start doing live shows for various shows that we do here. Pow Block for sure, this for sure. Some expansion passes we'll do. Obviously, when Switch 2 gets revealed, we're going to do a live watch along for that. Well, not live watch along, but
some of us are going to be at work.
Yeah, 8:30 at night. We'll do a watch along and talk about it. LeRon, Pat, thank you for your time tonight, as always, as well.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Everybody out there, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. $5 gets you Patreon producer credit and other perks. $1 gets you access to all the content. And subscribe on YouTube, podcast services. Leave us a rating, nice review, like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Long.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.